over thousands of different ways the social engineers setting up the world government for at least 100 years have been controlling Europe and the United States and using our energy, our wealth, our money, our ingenuity to dominate the planet for them. Now they're done with us, and they're imploding our economy to bring in a police state and total control and even more hardcore social engineering along the lines of hyper-eugenics. Here's a quick example. Not only, according to the Associated Press and other groups that have had major firms tested, like Abbott Laboratories, conducting its own in-house test that detected levels of melamine in formula products. Together, the infant formula manufacturers make about 90% of the infant formula sold in the United States. That's Associated Press. Not only that issue, or the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, coming out and saying, well, since it's in all these foods and things, we're just going to say it's not bad for you. That's not even the biggest issue. This is Edward Bernays, hired by the Pentagon, hired by the Department of Commerce when it was set up. This is all declassified. They said, we want to break down the family. This is back in the 40s. How do we destroy the American family? Because we want people dependent on government. We want people dumbed down. Families, people owe allegiance to their families. Families foster strong, intelligent, informed, dynamic people that will stand up for liberty. How do we militarily, this is all done cold-bloodedly, dumb them down? And they said, you break up their families. You pay money to the women not to have the men in the houses. They first targeted the black community. They went from 90+% legitimacy, 90+% of the children being born to blacks were, two-parent home, to now over 90% illegitimacy today. But they've done that to all communities. They said, condition them in the media. Tell women they're enslaved. Tell women they're beaten down. Tell women they're being oppressed by men if they breastfeed. That way we get them into the workforce. That way we get to tax the man and the woman, and then they're too exhausted when they get home to educate their own children. Then we'll expand the hours of class. We'll encourage them with after school to keep their children in the facilities. Then in the schools, we can dumb the curriculum down through compartmentalization. The teachers and administrators will never know. And look what they've done, from the smartest in the world, the highest test scores, to 34th in the world now. Not just behind all the first world nations, but a bunch of third world nations. And also, Google these studies. There's been hundreds done. Smaller brain size in babies that are not breastfed. Yeah, we're human beings, females of Homo sapiens sapien, our species. Homo sapiens sapien have mammary glands to produce milk, human milk. I know this is radical. Human milk that babies drink. It's designed for them. And the brain is developing the most it will ever develop. Per capita, it only grows for the first 5 years, and your brain's done growing. In the first 12 months. And so the baby doesn't get, because the woman's trendy and she's cool and she's going to be in the workforce. Okay, well then don't have babies, lady. Or wait till your child's a year old and then put them in daycare. Don't just stick them in a crib to sit there and basically shrivel up and never mentally develop. That's another reason our public is so dumbed down. Not just the sodium fluoride in the water, which the government put in there to brain damage just by design. I have the government documents on that. Cover it in Endgame and other films. But think about the diabolical nature. For 50-plus years in this country, the majority of women don't give their babies milk. And there's other studies that women that don't breastfeed while they have children increase in breast cancer, because the women are meant hormonally to be producing that milk. The more a woman breastfeeds, the more children she has, the less rate she has in that. Same thing with abortion. Google that. All the government studies, they admit it. They just don't publicize it. You have abortions, it massively increases your chances of cervical cancer, of uterine, of ovarian cancer, of fallopian cancer, of vaginal cancer. They know this stuff hurts you. But again, this is how they did it. How did Edward Bernays in the 20s get women to start smoking cigarettes when less than 1% of women smoked cigarettes, was seen as unladylike? How did they do it? This is all declassified. It's taught in advertising. I took Advertising 101. I only took 2 years of media, 2 years of advertising, and they taught this the first month in the class. Edward Bernays. He's the reason you eat bacon with eggs. They advertise you got to have bacon with eggs. Some things are innocuous. What's wrong with that? The point is, now you feel like you got to have it. They said put women out front at these suffrage marches smoking cigarettes. Give them free cigarettes. Pay the leaders to smoke cigarettes. Say it's radical and cool for women to smoke cigarettes. Boom. Total conversion, women smoking. See, via a fake counterculture telling you it's radical. There's thousands of these examples I can give you. And they told the women in the 40s, hey, your men have been gone. You've been in the factories. Stay in the factories. Don't let your men suppress you, and don't breastfeed those babies. We have scientific formula. It's good for them. Just like they had ads telling you cigarettes were good for your lungs. Total lies. They knew it was a lie. And then you have a nation of people, the vast majority of them, over 60%, that were given formula, not breast milk, and their brains, on average, there's different studies, are 15% smaller. The brain didn't get the proper fats and amino acids it needed to grow, that key organ in that baby. It gets worse. The UN ships in the formula to Africa. Google formula kills thousands in Africa. Just kills them because they won't even put the fat in those. Here they just put melamine in it, and then it's also in plastic bottles that leach. There were hundreds of different types of plastic. Only one type leached. And I have the government documents from the 30s where they said we need to adopt this. This will decrease sperm counts. This will cause women to have all sorts of reproductive problems. And that's now why we have an 80+% reduction in the sperm count in the United States, in Europe, in England, in every nation that has adopted this. Japan figured it out a decade ago and banned the stuff, heavily restricted it, but not here. It comes out, this is in almost all the plastic products and linings and cans and the stuff on the tops of plates. You put it in the microwave, it leaches out. You wonder why you're so unhealthy, why you have all these hormonal problems, all these adrenal problems. You wonder why you have all of these problems with your thyroid, all not linked, conclusively proven from the leaching of that plastic that releases an estrogen-mimicking hormone to make men more feminine and women hyper-feminine. That's why you got 3- and 4-year-old girls going into puberty now. And when they go to the doctor, does the doctor say, hey, don't eat out of this plastic, don't heat up plastic, don't use these types of plastic? No, he says, I'll give you hormones to mask those that totally screw the girls up. And not because the doctor's bad, he's compartmentalized. The American Medical Association tells him in his yearly or every 2-year retraining that this is what you do when this happens. He goes and opens up a big book or pulls up a computer website that tells him what to do. We're going to go to break and come back in a few minutes and go to David, Ralph, Peter, Stephen, Ian, and others. So everybody stay with us. But listen to me. There's thousands of these things. I'm only telling you about one thing. Mothers, if you're going to have children, at least don't give them baby formula. Goat's milk is dynamite. It is the next closest thing to human milk next to jackass, donkey milk. Donkey milk is the very best, and it's just shown in German studies and other studies, Swiss studies, pull them up, to be almost as good as human milk. Some studies show better. Go find jackass milk. Make a market for it. They've got goat's milk in all these stores in every major city. Give your babies jackass milk. Give your babies milk from another mammal, not out of a factory. Why do I have to explain this? That's why you can't understand me, because you didn't get milk from your mama. We'll be right back.